the blue roof is the new the trending roof still in my town. A lot of blue tarps everywhere still.
Yeah,
But
no, absolutely. I know way too much about all of that stuff. It looks like we did have a delay going out on YouTube, but it does look like it is out now.
yeah, I know you know a whole lot more about it than I do.
No, definitely so.
I've only been dealing with it for what 8, 9 years now. You've been what your whole life?
I mean, and thankfully, right? I mean, let's see. How long have you been in Florida? When did you buy the house down there?
2010.
So 2010. So I mean, here it is, 12 years, and you had a little thing that that blew over a couple of years ago, in this heavy one, right? And that's
Yep.
if you think about me local in Louisiana, I've never evacuated for a storm. I got stuck out of town, last year when Ida came through. But before Ida, at least local to me, the hardest hitting that we received was Katrina, obviously back in 2005, and then 2021 with Ida. So it's not like something we're really dealing with heavy, every single year. I haven't boarded up my house since Katrina, but obviously I live further inland, than certainly than you do, than a lot of other people do in Louisiana as well.
But you're more inland than I am. I sort of thought just because I vaguely remember getting to your house and all. I remember going across Lake Pontchartrain Bridge and stuff, and it didn't seem like you were like much further away from like the Gulf than I was. Like I'm like I don't know 20, 15 miles.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely a lot further. I
Yeah.
know it doesn't seem like it, especially kind of when you fly over and see the water and hit New Orleans and all that kind of stuff. But you were way closer, to the Gulf of Mexico than I am because I don't know. The bottom of Louisiana is kind of like the bottom of Florida is, in the sense that there's a whole large section of miles and miles and miles of unlivable, marshland, more or less, that is a lot of our protection.
Okay.
Yep.
But I mean like so like the way it came Ian yeah the way Hurricane Ian came up, like there's people that are like I don't know 20 plus miles inland and they still got decimated because that thing was such a monster when it hit. It was so big. Like, I went
Right.
to Sarasota not long after. I was going up 75 and I got off up around Sarasota, near the mall and the where you go off at the airport. And like I got off and they didn't really get it that bad, but I was going inland towards the gun club. And like the more miles that were clicking off as I was going more inland, that was the track it took. And then it was like, oh, wow, they really got hammered up here too.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, yeah, obviously, the closer you are to the eye wall, when that eye wall pushes in, yeah, I've kind of have gone into a couple of heavily devastated areas, numerous times, just besides being local. And yeah, anytime, anywhere close to that eye wall, I mean, easy, like you said, 20, 30 miles inland, you still see significant damage.
Yeah.
Well,
And then
cool, man. Welcome back to the Training Talk Show. Welcome everybody. Back to the Training Talk Show. Be obviously the last show of 2022. See, Andrew was chiming in on one of the channels. I just came across his comment. Andrew's wanting to know what we're discussing tonight. Well, we're going to jump in and talk about lots of different aspects with safety, security, around the Christmas season, as well as training, during the winter and whatnot. So we'll kind of jump into a few things tonight. Deryck, I don't know about you. I just finished my last teaching class, I think, of the year, I guess yesterday. And so I was on the range teaching Friday, Saturday, and then Monday and Tuesday. But I think that I'm finished teaching for the year, man. How about yourself?
I just finished up my last one. I'm pretty sure it's my last one for the year. I mean, I might get on the range with some of the guys from Armored Alliance Group and do some rifle stuff with those guys. But that wouldn't be like a formal class. That'd be me just working with some of the guys over there. But yeah, we just on Saturday had 10, 11 people out on the range to do an into IDS, DSF pistol course up there with the Armored Alliance Group guys. Like anything local, we're going through them because they're,
Yeah.
they're doing the bulk of all the CCW classes and all. And their CCW classes, they prep people really well for my stuff. Um, so it's a good working relationship with those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know you've got a great relationship going on there. Uh, yeah, I'm headed uh, to I get to go finally shoot some ammo this year. You know, headed to be a student here in another instructor development class for Red Dots here with Jamie Onion. Some of y'all watching the show tonight have definitely seen Jamie on the show. So I'm headed to meet him in Tennessee for a couple of days of instructor development. So other than that, hopefully get time to bring some of the stuff from the back burner, back to the front to get things finished out strong for the end of the year. We're already setting classes. I know Deryck is as well. We're setting tour dates, looking for next year. So if anybody tuning in tonight is looking to host, one of us in your locale, definitely reach out because we are getting the date set for 2023 for all kinds of stuff, whether it's handgun, rifle, instructor development classes, or taser certifications for instructor development, or just end user stuff. But welcome to the show, everyone. It is sponsored tonight by Primary Arms Online. I just checked out their website here just a couple of minutes ago. They're pretty solid with offering stuff on pretty common. So tonight's special is $20 off when spending $200 or more on the website. And obviously that's going to be limited time. It may go away tonight, may go away tomorrow, but that is their current special. But if you haven't checked it out, they've got all kind of stuff for firearms accessories, firearms, and pretty much anything that you would probably want related, they have it. But I'm curious. It's Christmas, and so I want to know what everybody wants for Christmas. Obviously there's all kinds of different options. And I'm sure that you've already got your Christmas list, or maybe you're trying to to buy for somebody. So if y'all have ideas, drop them in the comments tonight. Deryck and I are going to kind of probably talk about a couple things, maybe that we would like, or that we recommend for that Christmas list. But I'm curious what the viewers are tonight. What they're looking for. Is everybody after guns, ammo, accessories for it? Something completely unrelated? Maybe tacos, right? Good finish out strong with big good tacos, good spicy tacos. I read a book today at school. I learned that dragons don't like spicy tacos, Deryck. In case you ever are wanting to have a party with dragons at your house, I learned that you do not feed dragons anything spicy. Some of the viewers out there might get that children's book, but I read that today at the children's school.
I actually had tacos for dinner tonight.
I had leftover taco meat because we had tacos for dinner last night.
Right, ours was leftover tacos from Taco Tuesday. Yeah, Primary Arms that you were saying, you were just over there. I was over there looking today too. They have a huge countdown to Christmas section too, so they got some really good sales going on top of that $20 off coupon code. So
yeah, definitely so. Let's see, check out some of these comments here. Difficult to run all the different pages here, but yeah, I'm curious to see what's everybody else wanting. What about you, Deryck? What would you notice when you're over at Primary Arms Online, or what do you think about putting on your list?
Ooh, if I could get somebody to get for me, give me. I'm always in the market for another micro prism. One of Primary Arms micro prisms.
I'd grab mine, but I'm attached.
Like that. Yeah, I got one on my rifle still that I borrowed from Rob. I'm in love with that thing, man, and I would love to put that on like all the rifles I play around with. Do you have a 3X or just a non-magnified?
So I have the 3X. They sent it out here, I guess maybe probably 2 or 3 months ago, and I've got it on my Nemo rifle, and so I've been getting heavily acquainted with it, over the past couple of months. I had the opportunity to definitely spend some time on the range with it. It shines, especially that 0 to 100. It shines extremely well, and I'm looking forward to continuing with that. But I've also had some time to really spend in the woods with it now that hog season's here, hunting season is here, and so I've had the opportunity to glass a few things and really see what it looks like when you're not just on an open range, but when you're in a lot thicker brush and in thicker woods, and the speed of which, was bringing it up. And so that's always the concern that I have anytime you go to a magnification is, what happens when things happen quickly and they happen very close, right? And that's where I've always favored the red dots is up close, home defense, personal defense, but any sort of extended shots, obviously the magnification makes sense. But with the 3x power, I don't think it's overkill at all. And so I've been pleasantly surprised with, how still fast that it is, even in the, chaotic circumstances of the woods and hunting with hogs and whatnot. And so I like it. At some point, I'll throw out a dedicated video with my final thoughts on it as I continue to get acquainted.
Well, the funny thing is like I played with ACOGs a lot, and like they're 4x, and like it's really weird how the 3x there's such a big difference. I think the 3x is like more usable, quick for like personal. Like if you're like I want something magnified on my personal defense rifle, the 3x doesn't seem as obnoxious, or the eye relief is easier. It's really weird how like the ACOG, and an ACOG is what, well over $1,000 still.
Yeah.
And that 3x is still, I think that 3x prism is light years better than like an ACOG. That's just my personal opinion. But I have the non-magnified prism on my Nemo, and I love the thing. The etch glass and all. It's and you're not going to break the bank buying one.
Right, that's the key. It seems to hold zero strong. It's not going to break the bank. It with the etched glass. I still kind of fall back to some of y'all watch this. We did the PDN live event last year out of St. Augustine, Florida. I think it was maybe last March or early this March or something like that. But you, I, and Rob had kind of a very quick shooting competition. I think Don Edwards as well. It wasn't but 50 yards or something like that. But I threw up my rifle. My red dot was off. The way that it was still sitting there, off as in the power was off. So I didn't have anything when I pulled it up, and still was able to pull off the shot, but you could tell that there was a delay there because of the slowness. But that was the benefit of having the etched glass, right? Is that dead battery, not bright enough for the conditions or anything, you still have that etched glass. It's still there, doesn't slow you down in any significant way.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, with the 3X is like just a little bit over $300, and the 1X is like $260-ish.
Yep, and I'd have to pull up. I know that Primary Arms Online has it, but I haven't pulled them up to see what the prices are.
Looking, they're so popular, they're always in and out of stock, and I'm always looking, because Primary Arms runs sales from time to time on them, even though they're still crazy popular. They'll still run sales, and they'll do like open box or something like that from time to time, where you can get it for like another $40, $50, $60 off. So I'm constantly over there looking.
Well, cool. Well, yeah. I mean, that's I don't get a lot of gifts for Christmas, but if somebody was going to get me something, it's still with ammunition coming down, I'd probably capture, a good few more difficult calibers to come across. And I've already started looking, and stocking back up on, more things like 300 blackout, right? That's what I use for the kids hunting and stuff. And so, a little bit harder to come by the hunting ammunition, but I'm starting to see it. So I'm starting to grab a box here, grab a box there, that kind of stuff. Gift ideas, giving them out to people. Obviously, it depends all who you're buying for. I've noticed that I've had a lot of students been purchasing the Taser products as kind of gifts for significant others, for those that are not interested in a firearms-based response, or they're wanting a less lethal tool to be able to carry with them when they're not carrying a gun, or even as an option for when they are carrying a gun. Those have been really popular, the civilian devices. My favorite is been the Taser Pulse, simply because it is firearm shaped. It's handgun shaped, so it fits the hand. The ergonomics of it, I'm used to, right? And it's just a lot more intuitive from what I do from day to day. But a lot of people don't like the firearm shape, so they prefer, like the Bolt 2. That's more of like a remote control style. But both have been super popular. Have been selling a lot lately. If anybody is wanting those, I've dropped a coupon code here in the past, but you're always welcome to use my name, Barret Kendrick, and it gives you a discount over at taser.com. So full name all together, Barret, Kendrick, Kendrick.
So like if somebody buys one of those online, that does not require an FFL, right?
It does not. It's not a firearm, right? And so,
I know that, but I want to make sure our viewers know that.
Yeah, it's it, and it's they're legal in 49 states. Some states do require permits to carry and stuff, but there are 49 states that I think that you can own them, without any sort of permit. Like Louisiana, it doesn't require a permit to own or possess or any of that kind of stuff. And so it's just it's a solid option. I have a tendency to carry mine, especially out of state or traveling somewhere where I'm not allowed to bring or carry the firearm. I'd always have that as a kind of a fallback option to be able to work with. Cool. Let's see. Andrew says that he wants some tritium rifle sights and or rail mounted laser. Lots of different options, with sights and lasers. I think we did a show, if I remember correctly, on lasers here a while back, and talking about them as a tertiary option, for aiming and whatnot. The tritium sights, to me, and you might have different thoughts, Deryck. They, especially if you get into like the 3-dot sight systems, they mess with my eyes really bad. And if anything, I prefer like something bright in the front, on the front sight, but not on the back of it.
Yeah, well, I'm the same way, because you even see it in classes, right? Like I'm sure you've seen it too. Like the student that has the tritium on a pistol, they have like the rear notch. You have your rear notch, and then you got 2 tritium dots, and then your front, you got the blade, and then you got a tritium circle, and they try to line up equal height, equal light, and then get 3 balls in a line across the back, and there's so much going on, especially for the new shooter. It's like, all right, stop looking at the dot at the circles, because the human eye can line up angles a whole lot better. Just go with the angles for now. A really bright tritium, like orange with an orange ring or something for the front sight, cool.
Yeah.
If you're running irons, and you want to be able, and you need your sights, you want to be able to pick up that front sight really quick and fast. So like a good, like bright color up there, totally down with that. Or like on mine, before I was switched over pretty much to RMRs on most of my carry guns, but all my iron sighted guns, I was a fiber in the front guy.
Yeah, love the bright red fiber in the front.
Yeah, I like the neon greenish yellowish one was my color of choice. Seemed to pick it up better, a little bit better than the red. But other than that, I don't. I even like my RMRs, like my backup irons are just straight up, black, old school iron with lower three quarter witness in the window below the dot.
Well, cool. Well, let's jump in, talk a little bit about the show topic tonight. Deryck and I just want to chat about security a little bit, security around the holidays, and what training likely should look like here, in the next couple of months as well. And so, man, anywhere you want to start?
No, with security, we actually have some really good articles too over at personaldefensenetwork.com in the blog section. I wrote an article, and I think you did too. Like a bunch of us wrote on different topics of home security or personal security in the Christmas holiday time frame.
Yeah,
can we start there?
Yeah, no, we've definitely. I remember writing an article. It's been a couple of years ago, but definitely wrote an article for Personal Defense Network that you can definitely find on the website. I mean, I think, the biggest change that I see, when you hit December each year is, it's all the predators, obviously, that are running around, trying to make those quick bucks, to, maybe it is to go buy Christmas presents, put on their table, whatever. But, property crime has a tendency to skyrocket, this time of year. Neighborhood kids lifting door handles, or I remember, I think it was last year and 2 years ago locally, they called them, I forget what they called them, but they had these highway crews that would come in from, larger cities from around us. And basically, they would get dropped off in neighborhoods, and, they would just go door to door. And I got them on camera, in my neighborhood. They lift a lot of door handles and break a lot of windows and whatnot. And guess what they're looking for?
You cut in and out on me.
I was saying, guess what they're looking for?
All of a sudden I was in a pop quiz. What are they looking for? Question
Yeah.
mark. And they didn't hear the question. I'm like, uh-oh.
I gave you a pop quiz. Yeah, obviously they're looking for valuables, right? But they're looking for the easy stuff. They're looking for guns, looking for people leaving the guns in the cars and whatnot. And so, and I'm sure that you'll see the same thing, where you are, Deryck, but we'll get, a lot of outsiders coming in the neighborhoods, and theft goes up, tremendously, especially as we get closer to the holidays and whatnot. And so, when it comes to that, right, when you think about home defense and personal defense, when property crime goes up, the opportunity, obviously exists for people to run around. But what we have to watch out for is, running into these types of individuals, right? Is that, is surprising them, catching them off guard when we're also being caught off guard at the same time. And I mean, I know, especially the New Orleans area, we get a lot of videos with these, property thieves that are literally just running around, trying to steal stuff out of cars, but yet they're running around, with handguns in their hands, or, having lookouts, where you'll have somebody with a gun as a lookout, while somebody is looking for the easy break-ins and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, even on your front, like, I don't know about you, but like down here, most people in my neighborhood, if I look up and down my street, the vast majority of us park in our driveway because our garages are utilized as an extra living space. Like mine is a gym. Like my garage is a gym and a motorcycle repair shop. So like our cars are parked in the driveway, so we have to be really vigilant of, we're not leaving stuff. We don't leave stuff in the car. Like, so if I go out and buy presents, I have a good hiding place here inside the house. Now, granted, I don't have kids that are like master super sleuths that can find presents or go looking for presents, but I make sure I bring everything inside. I don't leave it sitting in the car, so the wife doesn't ruin the surprise.
Yeah, 100%. And, and so that's going to be part of it, right? Is with property crime growing up, security means, putting extra layers in place just to make sure you're not a victim of that kind of stuff. Something as simple as, not leaving things in the vehicle or not leaving things exposed when you're, out and about and moving around. Porch pirates, right? Trying to limit the stuff on the porch and doing things like, making sure that you have the cameras that are notifying you when you do have the traffic, putting in the driveway alarms, that kind of stuff, where, when somebody's coming in, is that without you even having to have eyes on them, you already know when somebody's coming up the driveway, up the sidewalk, and, not having to, to be away, from that. But at the same time, we know that a lot of times, people are going out of town this time of year, right? And so, the criminals know that. They know that a lot of these houses are empty. It's easy to look at the houses, right? The packages start to stack up. In the old days, the newspapers start to stack up, but now it's the Amazon boxes. You can like drive through the neighborhoods and you can instantly tell who's out of town because you get the stack of Amazon boxes that are sitting on the front door.
Yeah. But the cool thing is, like, I don't. A lot of people don't seem to know this, but when you have something delivered, Amazon, UPS, whatever, you can actually, if you have the tracking number, you can jump online, put that tracking number in, and you can like register that you want to schedule the delivery, or you want to require that it's handed off to somebody, or there's a sign, like you can actually put those options in once the retailer or whoever shipped it out to you, to protect yourself from, well, I know I'm going to be gone all day this day and this is getting delivered and there's nobody around, or my neighbors are out of town, so there's nobody really around to even see my front porch. Jump online and have it rescheduled for delivery, or pick a time when you're actually going to be home.
Yes, absolutely. And that's, and I've mentioned this before, but that's the number one reason why I pay for a private mailbox to be able to ship packages to where the stuff doesn't even come to the house. And I know that it's going to an open business and it stays secured until I'm there to pick it up. And I don't have to worry about, what the front porch looks like while I'm gone.
And another benefit to that, is the fact that you don't have to worry about opening the door for somebody, because like this time of year, so many people are having so many things delivered. I've seen video recently of fake deliveries, and the minute the door opens, two people come around the corner with the guy holding the box, kick the door in, and next thing you know, you have a home invasion. So by having your setup, don't even have to worry about somebody ringing your doorbell when you're expecting something. You just go and pick it up at your convenience.
Yeah, no, and that's a definite benefit to it. It's thankfully I don't get a lot of knocks on the door, and so I am able to heavily filter the ones that I do get. And obviously now with all the technology with the cameras and stuff, it's like I can be in communication with the people at the front door from not standing there or not even being at home for that matter.
Dude, let me tell you something. I am that neighbor. Like the first sign you see when you step on my driveway is no trespassing. The next one you walk past says no solicitors. And the next one you get to is like right at the front door where the doorbell is, and it says no solicitors. We don't do religion, politics. We gave it this office, blah 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 blah. And still, instead of them ringing the doorbell, they knock on the door. And I know they knock on the door, so if I open the door, I can be like, "Do you not see the sign?" They go like, "Oh, I didn't see the sign," because they knocked. So I will usually just hit the speaker and be like, "No solicitors, read the sign," and like turn it.
I laugh every time I come to your house and see that sign.
It's like, oh my god! Like the sign worked for the first month I had it, and it's sort of like, I guess enough people saw it, or they're like, whatever. But I just want to answer the door. But like you said, I have cameras and I have motion detectors, so I know when it's coming. And I literally just, pull out the phone, hit the video, look to see who it is. And I don't even, half time I won't even say go away. I'll just go back to doing whatever I was doing.
Yeah, with as cheap as those cameras are now to, replace for your doorbell and connect to Wi-Fi, it's kind of a gimme of having, at least some layers in place and working with it. See, Jerry said that he's been reading a lot about the criminal gangs targeting people after leaving banks with large amounts of cash, meaning they're putting someone in there that is figuring out, all right, who's leaving with the cash, and then wait till they get to the next destination and rob them. And yeah, I mean that's definitely a thing. We've got a couple of casinos and stuff in Louisiana, and you'll see the same kind of targeted attacks. I've seen the same thing, with guns, people leaving gun ranges, is that literally, watch somebody that has a slew of firearms and, target them when, they stop at their next destination, whether it's go to eat at a restaurant or at their house, that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's 100% true.
Like like for that to happen, people leaving ranges and all, every time I leave a range, I try to make sure that I don't have to stop for any reason before I get home. Like, because I know, like Saturday, right? I went up to the range. I had my personal carry gun, and then I have some of the canics left over from the training tour that I take to every one of my classes, just in case somebody's gun goes down. And like when it's time to come home, I make sure I have enough gas to get home. The only reason I'm going to be on the stopping before I get home is because the car broke down or something. I try to avoid that, worrying about somebody having access to be able to steal guns out of my vehicle. I hate having guns in my car that aren't on my body, or even in the like quick access safe. I'm still not crazy about it, but I will at least use the quick access safe if I have to stop.
Yeah, no, me too. Even when I travel, I typically will take my gun case and I've got a large cable, that I'll cable lock to that to where at least put an additional layer on there, as well. I'm same way, man. I can't stand having the firearms in the car. I'm not one who, I am one who takes as many steps as I can to not have to leave firearms in the car. But, obviously traveling to teach that kind of stuff, you got to get out at some point to go into gas stations and get gas and, different pieces like that. So it's like there are times that you have no choice, obviously, but to do it. And that's why, you put the additional layers in place and,
Yeah.
and make it that much harder.
And I mean, if you're putting there, I mean, I'm not saying, you never do it. You never do it. It happens, right? You can't say you never have to stop. But if you at least you stop and you've done these extra steps and still something happens, when you file the police report, you're not standing there looking like some clown. Where were your guns, sir? Well, I pushed it up under the seat. Well, sir, you
Yep.
realize your vehicle is not a gun safe. Like I put it inside of a safe, inside of a Vault Tech quick access safe that's cable locked to my chair. Like this guy, like he was good because he got it in the time it took for me to walk in and walk back out. At least you're not looking like irresponsible.
Yep. No, indeed, indeed. And so, yeah, I mean, those kind of attacks, I mean, they certainly are going to go up this kind of time of year. And so, it's a part of security is thinking about all of that, recognizing that does happen, and in putting measures into place, to try to be of more of a heightened sense of awareness, when you're in those transitional spaces, but always so understanding that, if the bad guy chooses you, like seriously does follow you from the bank kind of stuff, that they may wait for that perfect ambush moment. And so, and that goes back to training for that ambush style attack.
Yeah.
And I think that does come into play as we start to jump into the winter months. Like Deryck, you're south of Tampa, dude. It was like mid 90s there today.
Yeah. No, we actually didn't get into the 90s. We were like upper 80s.
Okay, so that's we were probably in the lower 80s. Just absolutely wonderful, that it was that. But I'm already starting to see the pictures of the snow, of the cold, and even though I live in Louisiana, unfortunately, I'm going to be cold here. I'm sure in another day or two, or a couple of weeks, and it's going to happen. So, I go from wearing shorts and a t-shirt to all of a sudden putting several layers of clothes on. Several layers of clothes, starts to change things, right? Starts to change a lot of things when you start to think about ambush style attacks and presenting a firearm quickly.
Yeah. Down here it's been chilly in the mornings. I don't think I ever get more than 2 layers. I'm trying to think. Like last year I think I got 3 layers for like 3 days, like where we were like right at that. We were almost to the freeze. Like the farmers were doing things. They were like people were putting blankets over top of plants out in front yards. So, but for the most part, the most I ever get is like 2 layers, where I'll be wearing a flannel now, unless I'm on the motorcycle. Then a 65, 67 degree day on a motorcycle feels like it's 40 degrees.
Oh, I get cold, man. When it drops down in the 50s and I'm teaching outside, I'm already thinking about my insulated pants,
Yeah.
my nice flannel lined pants.
Yeah. Like I did a video, and in fact, it just came up in my memories on Facebook 5 years ago. I rode my motorcycle up to St. Augustine and was doing PDN videos up there. And one of the videos I did was uh, on a motorcycle, but on a motorcycle when the weather's colder. So when you have multiple layers on, and when you're wearing like gloves that aren't like thin mechanics gloves that you can shoot pretty much any handgun still wearing, but like actual thick gloves. What should your procedure be to actually get the gun into the fight when you're wearing one of those thick set of gloves that you just can't even get your finger on the trigger to pull the trigger?
Yeah, and that obviously is not a thing, for most people during the summer months, right? And so that is a huge thing once we start to get colder and colder. And especially like, I mean, I'll start to layer up in Louisiana, but when you see me head north to teach at some of the much, much colder climate places, it's like, man, I got every layer I own, covering up the firearm, which means that, when I go to make access to it, it's not like it is in a t-shirt. And most people, spend their time training and practicing when the weather's great outside, and not when it's 4, 5, 10, inches or more of snow on the ground, right? But I always tell students that it's super important that when the climate changes heavily and your clothing, it's not even just the climate, right? But when your clothing changes heavily from where you spend your time training, spend your time practicing, well, then you better be spending some time, and working with the firearm from the holster from those types of clothes. So whether it's the suit and tie when you normally train at the range with the 14 pocket 511 pants, or it's the winter clothes going into the winter. Spend time getting used to and comfortable with what you're carrying.
Right. And the gloves, like I said, like the first part of the whole like presentation stroke is rip the glove off of your shooting hand before you even go to get the grip.
Yes, and that's and that's I wear, if I wear gloves, they're usually pretty thin, but like you said, that's not always the case, right? I mean, I own thick gloves, and so if you're someone who is wearing the thick gloves from day to day, that's an extra step that if you're not normally training during the summer with, then you're likely to be playing catch up when you go to try to find your firearm and realize you got the big mitten on you're trying to grasp hold of it with.
Yep. Yeah, it was kind of funny because I did that. I took all my cold weather stuff up to St. Augustine that weekend, did that video with the bike there and everything. And I left 3 days later. When I left 3 days later, I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and jump on the bike to come back south. There was ice in the parking lot in St. Augustine. And
Yeah,
so I was like, well, it's a little too cold and a little too early to leave. So I went back up into the room, stayed there till 6, came back down. It was still too cold, left at 7. I still left at 7 wearing 3 layers on my upper body, 2 layers on my lower body, had a gun on, and I had on these big, thick winter gauntlet gloves that went up to about here, the ones I wore in that video. So it was like I trained for my ride home. I did videos of my training for my ride home that day.
smart. We talked about the same thing even with the home defense safes, right? I tell my home defense students, take your gun safe to the range, and all of your practice drills should be running from actually opening the safe, getting the gun out, making it ready if it's not, and then shooting the target, because that's your real, that's your life, right? That's your more realistic circumstance. And same thing with gloves. You're going to carry the big gloves, cool. Do some practice with shedding the gloves and then using the gun.
Yep.
And so Deryck's got a video on it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just me on a motorcycle doing it, but it still applies because I'm wearing cold weather gear.
Yep, absolutely.
And I'm not on the motorcycle like a Mad Max movie where I'm riding the motorcycle and shooting. It's real world. I'm
What? You
getting
didn't
off
do
the
that?
bike, getting off the bike, stripping the glove, getting the gun out.
Fact.
I mean, any of our listeners, if you're signed up for the PDN newsletter, I'm sure you've seen the first article I wrote on riding a motorcycle while carrying a gun. So like that article has been around, and over at Fix My Hog too, which is part of TN marketing too. It goes out over there all the time, and I can't tell you the number of times I've gotten. So what do you think about me learning to be a lefty in case I need to use the gun while I'm riding? And in the article,
You haven't done the video for that yet?
No.
Come on, man, let's do it.
Right, like for those that don't ride motorcycles, right, you throttle with the throttle control is your right hand, right? So if you're trying to make the motorcycle go, you need to use your left hand for other things, clutch and everything. And I've gotten I need to learn how to shoot left-handed. Like, no, you really don't need to learn how to shoot left-handed for when you're riding a motorcycle.
I just dropped a link for the membership, you kind of made the statement, right? Is that many of y'all are members, many of y'all aren't. And PDN, definitely runs some specials this time of year to be able to get membership. But I don't know, Deryck, I don't think there's any other websites that have the amount of information available for personal defense training that's free, than PDN. And so obviously many of y'all watching tonight already know that. Some of y'all aren't coming in from PDN side. And yeah, it's just a massive resource of videos from whether it's Deryck or I or Rob or even somebody mentioned Clint Macro, right? There's many different contributors, to the websites. It's a huge resource of free content, but they do have paid membership available. And with the paid membership, you get access to all kind of DVD link videos, lots of premium content that gets filmed on a regular basis as well.
And like I talk about PDN during my classes, and I always tell my students, head over to PDN. The search bar works great. Start putting in search terms that's for topics that you're interested in. It'll bring back a bunch of videos, articles, stuff like that, and start clicking on them and start checking them out. If you start clicking on them and you see, well, that one's premium, just make a mental note, go back, look at some of the other stuff. Oh, you see another premium, cool, go back, make a mental note. And if you've gotten to the point where like you've read and seen so much and a lot of premium stuff's coming up and it really is like you're really interested in it, cool, jump on it and get it. You can get a gold or a platinum membership for great deals because PDN's always running, really solid, discounts for your first year of membership.
Yeah, definitely so, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, like for the Christmas stuff, like we talked about some of that stuff. The other thing is at Christmas time, or just not just Christmas time, the holidays in general, Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, all the whole gamut. It's like everybody's feeling festive, and like with everybody around you, a lot of people are feeling festive. They want to don't want to seem like the Grinch type person, and we let our guard down. Like the Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, is like the opening line, and a lot of bad guys will actually use the opening line to get closer to you than they need to be.
Yeah, fact. 100%. It's especially traveling, right? I think that's one of the biggest areas that you need to watch out for when you're traveling and hitting gas stations along the interstate and stuff. It's extremely common, for people to get way closer than you're probably comfortable with them. But yet, because of the circumstances, we still allow it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit. Like, what's some good gift ideas from people? Like, here's one. If you need to get like an under $25 gift, like, so I went up to 511 and did an IFAC, building your first IFAC class. And at the 511 store, they have IFAC bags. They sell, all the gear to go in them. And they sell these shears. Well, as you know, Barret, these shears are TSA approved, right? You can actually go through TSA with a set of these shears. Well, the cool thing about these shears, the manager at the store was like, those shears will cut a penny in half. And I'm like, no, they won't. And he's like, yeah, they will. And he's like, he opened the register and grabbed a penny and like threw a penny at me. He goes, here, try it. No kidding, man. For $12, you can have a set of shears that'll cut a penny in half. And they're great, safety tip medical shears. So if somebody's looking for like a little stocking stuffer, a great choice.
That is, I scuba diving. I've always trained to and have been trained to, and I've trained to, and I've always practiced keeping at least 3 cutting tools on me. And usually it's probably 4, but I've got 3 that stay on me, and one of those is a pair of titanium cutting shears. And sounds fancy, sounds expensive, but I think the titanium shears I spent $15 for, and they've been to the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico many a times, and I just rinsed them off, and they're still solid, ready to go. And yeah, that's a great stocking stuffer.
Yeah. And then here's another one. It's also from 511. This is their UCR IFAC pouch. And I bought this when I was up there because I thought this was like the coolest thing ever. You see this little bungee cord here on the back. Well, with that bungee cord, it's adjustable. And what it does is I set this on my headrest on my passenger side, and I just bungee cord this to the headrest. So now I have my IFAC sitting in the passenger seat right next to me, facing backwards. So, God forbid I'm like in a car accident or something, or I'm stuck, I can still reach over, grab the shears, or grab the medical gear. If I'm like pinned in the car but I'm bleeding, I can get right to it. But like this, I just thought was so cool because I always keep IFACs in the car, but I would always stuff it right behind the seat or right under the seat or somewhere that I could sort of get to it, but it was never like stuck in place. Well, with this little bungee here, it's really convenient, and I'm not like searching where's my IFAC, or getting bounced around as people are moving in and out of the car. I'm putting stuff in and out of the car. So if somebody's looking to get a gun person something, a nice little IFAC bag like this is a great present. It's not crazy expensive. I want to say it's like right around $40.
I'm gonna get my wife one.
Yeah,
she's not gonna think, but she got on to me because my medical kit did not fit her new car as well as she would like it to. And so that's going to solve some problems. So yeah.
And it comes in a bunch of different colors.
I think I've got one coming in the future.
Yeah. I'm preferential to, flat dark earth, coyote, whatever color you want to call that. But you can get it to match, if she's got gray interior, black interior, green interior, you can color match it close for her.
Yeah, no, those are definitely some solid ideas.
And then, you can always get somebody a flashlight. I'm not big on telling people to buy guns for people.
I know that, and I'm with you.
Like if you have a significant other that wants a gun, then, and you have like a local gun shop that you like or that you've used, I'm sure they sell gift certificates or something like that. Get them a gift certificate so they can go in, they can get fitted properly and get a gun that they actually like, that fits them, because the better it fits and the more they like it, the more likely they're going to train with it, but
no, definitely true fact. I was just looking over on Primary Arms website for the Prism sights. Let's see, the 1x Prism is on sale right now at $150 on Primary Arms online.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Darn it. I'm still paying off
the 2.5. 2.5X is $160, and I'm rounding up here, but so options for those that want something like that. I'm sure there's still time to get it under the tree, or to give somebody, or even accessories, right? Some of the upgrades, like the fancier charging handles, like the Raptor, that's more ambidextrous, more solid, won't twist at all as you're yanking on it, whatnot. A lot of those types of accessories work really well.
Yeah. I saw that Primary Arms also has like my favorite sling, the Magpul, the MP or the M4 MP4, where it's a single point, 2-point quick convertible, and they have like with all the different connectors, they have the QD, and then they also have the clips. So if you got somebody in your life that has an AR, or they got an AR for Christmas, and it's not going to have a sling, another good option for a good multi-purpose sling that works well regardless of the size of the person or the gender.
Yeah, or if you have that gun owner that doesn't have that fast access safe, like I know that was something after I had kids, right? For my dad, I bought him a fast access safe so that I know that he was doing what needed to be done to keep things secured, when nobody else or when he wasn't in control of things. And fast access safes could also be good option for somebody, for the gun owner, right? That doesn't have one, that still wants to have efficient access, but wants to take that extra security step to make sure that unauthorized hands aren't on them.
And you can always buy a loved one a training, the gift of training.
The gift of training.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I
In
know
fact, I got
others
to.
like, of course, that's what you're going to say because that's what you and Barrett do for your daytime jobs. Well, yes, but I'm pretty sure all of our viewers don't live in near Louisiana or me down here in Southwest Florida, right? You head over to PDN. We got, all of our contributors over there. You can look them up. There's actually a link over at PDN that has lists of ranges and train and instruction there. Or you can head over to USCCA. They have list of all their instructors, and if you see DSF, that's the program Barrett and I work on. So I can't recommend it any higher. And if they're a certified instructor, it should be the same, pretty darn close to the same information you're gonna get for Barrett or I or Rob or one of the other ICE, DSF, ICE, IDS instructors.
Yeah, no, definitely so. They've got some solid programs over there. The DSF, their defensive shooting course, um, that at this point, I'm not sure how many certified instructors there are around the country, but it should not have to drive far in order to get into one of the certified instructors classes. Lots of different options, lots of different places. I know that between you and I, we've been all over the country, and certifying different people, and so there should be lots of instructors at this point to be able to jump into one of those classes. But yeah, definitely the gift of training, that's always one at the top of my list and recommending to people that are interested in personal defense. You learn so much, right? I had somebody on the range yesterday that was just talking about how she had been to the range before. People have been telling her about how to do different things, what to buy, how to shoot, all of that kind of stuff, and but she knew that if she was going to take this seriously, that she wanted to actually get some professional training, and that's what happened, right? She came out to the range, and and obviously the skills jumped tremendously and comfort jumped a lot, but knowledge wise, she left, knowing way more than, that she showed up with. And, she'd already found that some of the recommendations that came to her from qualified people, in regards to, with the knowledge, were not going to be the best choice for her. So even though they came highly recommended, once coming out to the range, she realized that it didn't fit her hand as well as as she thought, and there were better options that existed out there. And so getting training with someone that has the knowledge, the experience, and working with all kind of different clientele to be able to build the skills or to impart the knowledge, it's a wonderful gift.
Absolutely. And you can go back and look at Training Talk Live if you're like, well, how do I vet an instructor? We did we did one topic on your first training class and what to look for, this, that, and the other. You should be able to contact your instructor, set up a time to talk to them or a potential instructor, and you should be able to ask them questions. They should be able to tell you exactly why they teach what they teach. Not that's how I did it in the military, or that's how we did it at this law enforcement, or this is how we did it, at this agency. They should be able to tell you why. What's the context? It does the context match your life? Those type of things. And then throw this one at them. What have you changed your mind about since you've been an instructor? And if they can't tell you at least one or two things they've changed their mind about, I would highly recommend to go find an instructor that has changed his mind about things, because that means they are staying on top of the information. It's what we know about psychology, neurology, what we see from dash camera videos, things like that. If they haven't changed their mind about something in the last 5 to 10 years, then they're not evolving to give you the best information.
Yeah, true fact. Absolutely so. Well, yeah, I mean, if y'all need recommendations, obviously, we would love to work with you. But if you need recommendations, on training opportunities in different places, then don't hesitate to, to reach out. You can see I just bumped my camera there. Boop.
I was shocked to see that you actually have a backdrop. I thought I was just the low tech one with the backdrop. I thought you
I've got a green screen behind me.
I thought you were like high tech green screen with your new logo. Like everybody didn't notice, Barrett's got a cool new logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bear, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of, the bear is kind of my look on personal defense, not like the big angry grizzly bear that wants to eat everybody, but more like the black bear, right? The black bear that's reserved, that kind of stays back, that that has the strength, but it's under full control, and when necessary, they step in and protect who needs to be protected and protect themselves.
I'm just glad to see you embracing the bear. I remember when we first met, like over a decade ago, you weren't real crazy about Bearco. You're like,
well,
I fell into it. I'm like, dude, bears are cool.
They are.
Like, bears just want to be hugged.
That's the other bears. True fact. Well, cool, man. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. As mentioned, tonight's show is brought to you by Primary Arms Online. If you go pull up their website, they've got their their Christmas special list right now, that all kinds of stuff on sale. Even that Prism site that we mentioned earlier, and I think there were 500 other things along with that, on their Christmas sale right now. But I know if you drop your email in, you can get $20 off tonight, and when spending $200 or more. And so that's worth it if you're looking for something like that as well. Any more thoughts, Deryck?
Nope. Just hope everybody has a safe holidays. Happy New Year. We'll see you all in January. Like Barret said, if anybody needs help, finding instruction or anything that we cover on any of these shows or something we haven't covered, reach out to us, hit us up with questions. We always love answering questions.
Absolutely. Y'all stay safe.